I'll just start over. My name is Scott Hawbaker. I'm with the NACA Executive Director role. And when Keith Michler, our current sitting vice president, asked what we could potentially do in January, I know during our winter board meeting, there was a suggestion made that maybe we could do a kind of an introduction to the new NACA website just to give everyone a better feel, a better understanding of where things can be found and how some functions or certain functions can be handled through the website. So there may be some detail that I don't want to go into too lengthy of a description on, but I'll do my very best, and I would say let's utilize either chat or the Q&A function. Depending on our time, I'll attempt to answer questions. If not, Connie and I just spoke, and we may just do a follow-up utilizing the various chat questions or question and answer section, and post them to the website to try to give everyone an answer to specific questions. I know that this is new to everyone, which is exciting, but at the same time, that does offer some challenges to us all on how we go about doing some of the processes within the website. I kind of joked to the board members and said, you know, the old website, after so many years, I finally kind of had most of the ins and outs of that handled. And so I reminded them that this is going to be new to me as well. So I'll be learning with all of you at the same time. So now hopefully you guys can see my screen. Basically, when you go to NACAA.com, this is what you're going to see. It starts off with videos and with the new website designs. It's basically a scroll down type option. So you can either use the little arrow here on this video page, or you can use the scrolling function on your mouse to move down into the page. Basically, this is our new home page. The news section, just so you know, we do have an NACA blog, and anytime I post something to the blog, it's going to show up on this news section. So it will keep like the last 3 or 4 blog postings. Oftentimes I will try to, if I send out an e-blast to everyone, if it's pertinent information, I typically will also go and post it on this blog as well. But the option is there for you to get direct notifications every time I post something on the NACAA blog. So if you want to click on one of those at some point in time and subscribe to the blog, I'd be more than happy to have you join that group and get notifications. Then we've got the upcoming events also listed on the primary homepage. As you can see, it only has the most recent annual meeting link as far as being open. You can click on either the green text with the dates or the Florida logo, and it will take you directly to the host state's website for the annual meeting. It also has a tab there for previous annual meetings to link you to one of the headings that's up here under annual meetings. And then we wanted to make sure that we included our donors at the bottom, kind of neat with the scrolling thing. And then I'm oftentimes asked, how can I make an online donation to the foundation? That was in the lower corner of our old website, and we made sure to include that. If you click on the Donate Now button, it will take you directly to the foundation's PayPal account to make a direct contribution. then our general information. At the bottom, in the bottom right-hand corner, that's where you can always go and search for the most recent job openings. I'm not certain how many people, I've not gone in and really taken a look at the Google Analytics, but we do have a wide variety of extension job positions opened across the country, and that's where you would go to find that. Just to kind of go back to the main heading, you'll see the headings that we have up here. The awards and applications, we've got a frequently asked questions section. We've got some information about the general awards. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that heading. So that'll take you into that section. It has informations on scholarships, on award applications and nominations, some general information about the various council awards, communication awards, as well as award winners for previous annual meetings. So let me just click on that award winners just to kind of show you. Ultimately, as it stands right now, it's got our current year, so we don't have any winners yet for 22, but if we go to 21, bear with me just a second. In order for it to generate something, I needed to move down my question and answer block on the screen. Once you click on the little yellow arrow on that side, it will start to generate a list. Yes, there's a lot of awards, so clicking on that arrow, as you can see, may take a few seconds to start generating the general information, but you will see this is a listing of national winners, and then we have national finalists. It's a good way just to kind of go back. Right now, it has them categorized by region. We had the national winners, then national finalists and regional winners, and then we'll go into the state winner list. But the good thing about this award winner listing is that if you really wanted to just focus on a specific award, you can go and select which award you want if you want to narrow it down by state and or by year. Now, some of these years, when we start getting back into the 2003, 2004, those years, I want to say that most of our electronic submission of awards started, I want to say, around 2010. So some of these further years back, we may not have data in the system. I know oftentimes I get requests from a state saying, can you give me a list of all of our DSA and AA award winners going back to the beginning of time? That's where we run into a little bit of a problem, in that a lot of that data is not available electronically. It was all paper copy. So through the years, I've tried to go in through historical information and try to generate some of the input some of the older data. We run into a little bit of an issue with that because we have to match it to a member that's in our current system. So if we get back too far, say to 1966, the year I was born, that member is not going to be in our system. So that's one of the areas that we'll work on in the future. Some of these other tabs also found under the awards and application. You've got, general awards. It will kind of give you some eligibility requirements and give you the various numbers that depending on what your state's membership are. We did go ahead and include the award application on these general award pages, but I'll show you here a little bit later a couple of other places to go to. As you can tell right now, I'm not even logged into the system. These are all things that are going to be open to anybody to see whether you're logged in or not. But there are certain elements that are found only within a what I would call the member portal. Why don't I just go ahead and log in? I already have my information set up in the system to log me in. We'll go back to awards and applications in a little bit, but you'll notice that this opened me up in the member dashboard. This dashboard section is really your member portal. Our policy and bylaws is found on this page. That's not open to the general public to see. So if at any time you want to go in and you want to view our 100+ page document of all of our bylaws and policy, this is the spot that you would find it within the dashboard. The edit my profile section, that's where you can go in and change all of your contact information. And if you're logged in and you want to change your password, this is the page that you would do that on. It's also the page where you can enter in your specialties. You can change your magazine preference. Here in the last month or so, we added a new feature. There was a request by one of our committees, I believe it was the Early Career Development Committee, to assist with identifying members of our association that are interested in being a reviewer for promotion and tenure. So there's a spot there for you to sign up for that. And just so you know, I went in and checked, and we've already got a good 20, 30, 40 people in each of those two criteria, whether promotion or tenure, that has said, yes, I'd like to be a reviewer. So stay tuned for more information on that when we have those requests. If you make any changes on this edit my profile page, make sure you press save here at the bottom in order for those changes to take effect. We'll go back to the dashboard just to kind of highlight some of the other items that are on there. View my contributions. Contributions to what? To the scholarship fund. So if you would like to know where you sit within the as far as eligibility for scholarship, that would be the page that you would go to. It will generate information for, well, it pulls up your personal information. So now I'm sharing all that with the world, which is fine. Keep in mind, most of these have just been scholarship things. I've bought a lot of stuff at the auction, but obviously, if you're familiar with the scholarship, you'll know that it's not what you buy, it's what you contribute or you donate that counts towards your thing. Current and past roles, that will show you what we have within the system as far as what your current positions are. We also went ahead and put a link in here to the County Agent magazine. Just since the dashboard is a place that's commonly, we anticipate a lot of people will visit this dashboard page. Some of these boxes you are not going to see on your end. I'm just letting you know, as executive director, I can see more of these than what you can see. But everybody under the applications page, this is another spot that you can go, and my preferred spot to go in and apply for an award application. May very well, between this, most likely most members are going to see the award application, the poster application, presentation, and scholarship, as well as leadership, but you probably will not see the dues application, because that is limited to only those within your state association that have been identified to be able to submit dues on behalf of your state. But really, if you do want to apply for an award, that's where I recommend you go. Go to the dashboard, go to the applications section, and then select which award you want to apply for. There are a couple of new ones that we put in here. The December edition of the magazine that was just mailed out had information on the Dan Klaczynski Memorial Scholarship Award. That is now posted on this, but there's all the other awards are listed for you to choose from. And we'll just pick one here just to kind of, and I'm going to just type in a name. We'll pick on Bill Burdine, our current national president, and you can see the various options here on the page and how you go about filling in the boxes. There's a spot here to upload copies of your program that you're wanting to enter. There's a spot there to add in. It pre-populates the primary members' information, but if you have other members that you're wanting to add into that award application, this is the spot that you would do it. Got a few things on here that you have to confirm for as to when your submitted work was completed by, a box to check, and then you would press save and continue. Now, one thing that I'll point out, and I know that I've had a lot of questions on this. Let's say I'm not going to go ahead and finish this application for Bill, but let's say you're going in and you're doing an award application and phone rings, you got another meeting, you got to take off and go. You've saved and continued it, but an hour passes. Just so you know, within an hour, if you have had no activity within the site, it will log you out. We originally had that set at like 10 or 15 minutes, and I was constantly getting logged out, so we modified that to make it's 1 hour. But if you need to return to that award application, I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and to keep in mind, I did not save and continue that one. But you're not going to go back down to this application section to try to find it. That's going to start you a brand new application. So for example, if I went in right now, had I saved that application that I had started for Bill, and I went back to this award application box, and I tried to find it, and I couldn't. Where is it? It's going to give me a notification saying that, hey, you've already started one of these applications, but yet you can't find it. Well, go back up here underneath your name. The My Submissions and Applications is where you're going to find that application to go back in and edit. Now, right now, I don't have any saved ones in here under awards. But if I did have, there would be another tab here next to dues that would say award submissions. That would be where you click on that. You can see here that I've done a few submissions for dues for a few states. So those are on my end, on my portal, to go in and look at under my dues applications. So that's one of the main questions that I've received so far is, where do I find an application that I originally started? That would be the spot. Really only go back to these application sections with the green boxes only if you're starting a brand new application for a new award. Then if you are let's say a state chair or a regional chair or a national chair, every time an award gets submitted by a member and proceeds to has been submitted, officially submitted. If you are in our system as a state chair, you are going to see view award applications under your administrative activities section. Once again, you're not going to see all of these boxes that I'm able to see, but this would be where you go in to view award applications. And if you're a state chair, I'll use for an example one that we recently did. Virginia, I know, has been working on their DSA and AA, like many of you are, because the deadline for that, I believe, is on the 15th. If I were the state chair of Virginia, I'm going to see this box. I'm going to see that Cynthia Gregg went in and made a nomination for a member within Virginia. And as the state chair, I would go in and I would click that box saying state winner, and I would click the box saying save a state winner, and that would then move it on to the regional level. So that, let's see, Virginia's in the southern region. Paula Burke is the regional vice chair for that recognition and awards committee. Within Paula's portal, she's then going to see this to approve it. Now, the deadline for entering DSA, AA, and Hall of Fame submissions isn't until July 15th. So Paula's not going to be able to go in and start viewing. She'll be able to view the applications, but she's not going to be able to click the box saying select them as a state winner until the 16th comes around, because states are still entering in information. Kind of rambling here a little bit, so what I'm going to do, getting into a little bit more detail than what most of you really need to know about, and I probably will do a more detailed video for state chairs, regional chairs, and national chairs. But I'm going to go back to the main dashboard just to highlight. Those are the primary things that are on that dashboard. The member search function, there's a lot of data that you can pull from this page. You can go in and just do an individual search for a member. Now, right now, there aren't very many of you that are paid for 2022. So when you're searching, since probably 90% of our current membership is still not officially paid for 2022, if you're going to go in and do a search, excuse me, make sure that you go ahead and include 2021 at least until mid-February in your searches, because most of the members won't be reflecting 22 due status yet. But let's just say I'm looking for, we'll pick on Bill Burdine again. No, I don't want Hawbaker. That pre-populates some of my stuff. And I say Bill should be an active member, and I do a search and I scroll down, and lo and behold, that's my error right there, is I had my first name, it pre-populated that. Now if I go in and do a search, it's still not showing me anybody. And I'm not sure what's going on with all that. Let me just say any status. Then I get an error code. I'm just kind of going in and trying to find something here. Probably have some stuff picked that I shouldn't have picked.
If you use Bill's first name with his last name, it comes up.
Does it?
Yep.
That's probably, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're helping me out, Connie. To be honest, I had not gone in and done very many individual searches, but let's just say we wanted to see a list of active members for any state. Well, let's not do that because takes a while to generate. But let's show me a list of who the active members were in 21 and 22 in Alabama. You can go in and if you want to have it generate a list of current position announcements, you can do that as well. You can query all sorts of things through this page. I don't know what's going on with this. It was doing it before. Well, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on this because if there's a problem with this searching and querying, I'll have to deal with it later. But one thing I can take is I was doing it just yesterday with a whole bunch of stuff. You do have the option to export out into Excel, which at the time if you do a query and it generates a list of all the people down below, you can then push a button that says export to Excel, and it will give you a variety of options to choose what it is you want to export out. But the search function, when it's working properly, and I guarantee you it normally will, I've got something I'm just doing on here that's not what I really want it to do right now. It does work, and it's a good way to, let's say you want to go in and you want to identify all of the state chairs for the early career development committee, and you want to be able to reach out to them and generate an Excel spreadsheet to copy and paste all their email addresses. You could then do that and then paste it into whatever mail server you have to send an e-blast. I'll move on. Let's go back up to some of these. We hit most of the things that were under the awards and applications section. The about section, kind of gives some history about NACAA. There's benefits of membership. If your state's looking to try to recruit new members, there's actually a brochure on that page that you can send a link to members to. Here's a subheading to the job openings, showing you all the various jobs that are open, takes you to you can click on, I just added a couple yesterday. You can click on the various award, or not the award, the job opening. It has a listing there for what they're looking for, and then has a spot where it will take you to the link. There's a state association page on here, which will show the various state associations. If they're in bold, they should have a link to a state website page. If they're not in bold, it's because we don't have a link to a state association page. And if you're reviewing this and you know that your state has one and it's just not linked properly, let me know and we will do our best to get that linked. There's also on the About page, you can find the Hall of Fame gallery, a page for our sponsors, information about list rentals, our mission and goals, code of ethics. General information can all be found there. On the leadership and contacts page, Probably the most common page that we'll go to is the committee page, because that's where you can find current leadership listings for all the various councils. If you're not certain who the national chair, the regional chair, the state chairs are for a certain committee, you can click on those. You can see where it shows a list of all of the committees that we have within that council. You can click on the link to show all the state chairs, their contact information. Those that are highlighted in green, just so you know, that means we do not have the state chair listed for that committee for your state. So that kind of helps us identify who we still need to fill in some blanks there on various leadership roles. But this is the time of the year that we do that. So we're trying to get that all cleaned up. This time of year. So hopefully within the next 30 days, we will have all of that outlined. This is also where you can find the board minutes for NACAA. There are currently none listed for 2022, but we have listings of our 21 up until June, and Connie and I are going to work on getting those updated here in the very near future. Educational foundation meetings are also found on this page. Had a conversation earlier with Cynthia Gregg, the foundation secretary, and she just sent me about 2 hours ago some updated minutes that I will be posting as well in that section. The national leadership information is listed as well. There's also a sub listing for, we'll just kind of scroll down. We've got everybody listed there on the national level. There's the regional information. Their information is posted on this page as well. State president's page, that's also listed. Right now, I'm fairly certain that we've got a few states that I know some of these are not currently up to date, but we're working on getting those updated as well. I normally would say if you're really looking for the most recent listing, to get a master list, to do that through that member search function and just ask for state presidents, and it can generate an Excel spreadsheet for you. The other headings, professional development. This is where you're going to find the journal. Just added yesterday. I've not sent an e-blast out about this, but for upcoming travel opportunities, at least on the national side, if you click on that page, you'll see that we're trying our best to do another Italy tour in October of 2022. So I've added all that information, and I will be sending an e-blast out on that as well. Journal is a major function. This is where you will see all the journal articles, depending on what issue you want to view. They're all listed within this section. There's history on the annual meetings. You basically can click on each one of these. There's not going to show anything yet for West Palm Beach, but information from Philadelphia, Virginia, those were virtual. So the amount of information that's on there is still somewhat limited compared to previous years. But we do, and if you're looking for just a history of where were the annual meetings held, this kind of gives you a listing of where meetings were held. You can also go in and find some postings of previous webinars that we've held. These go back several years, but kind of all of our NACA 365 webinars, the recordings for those can be found at each of those links. I'll eventually post this one on there. Posters is another subheading. Basically, this is just a search. If you want to see, let's just say 2020, it's going to kind of do a search. It'll show you the various posters that were shown that year. It identifies if they were a finalist, first place, second place, third place. You'll find those listed. So pretty much this is a listing of the poster winners. It's a good place to refer back to if you want to go back and see a poster example of, well, let's see who won in 2020 or 21, to give me an idea of what the judges are looking for when it comes to a good looking poster. Not that everyone's aren't good looking, but it's a good place to go back and refer to. Annual meeting handbook is found here. Presentation, same thing. It will allow you to go back. It always starts with the current year, which we don't have any yet. But if you want to go back and you want to review some of the presentations that were made for 2021 by committee, you can see all those, and they're listed as well. Annual meeting handbook, we don't necessarily need to look at that, but that's where it's at. Publications and news, if you want to see the County Agent magazine, for those of you that do not get a hard copy, this would be where you go to click on the magazines. This is the one that was just mailed. I know they're starting to be received in the mail. That, to be honest, it was sent to the printer mid-December, or no, right between Christmas and New Year's. But that's a kind of a slow time for everybody. So it didn't get mailed until, I believe, last Wednesday or Thursday. But that would be where you go in to look at the magazine. And I've got too many pages open now. And I want to go back, arrow back, and that takes me back. That's kind of just a crash course on what the various headings are. And Connie, maybe if you could assist me, I might I can open up now. We can hear. Will we be able to go in and see that our award nominations by state have been received? If it shows pending, that means it has been submitted and received. The state chairs are the only ones that are going to be able to go in and be able to view it at the next level. But if you ever have any question on, for example, Virginia sent me an email this morning and said, hey, we've got our DSA and AA submitted. Can you please verify for me that it's been submitted? But if you go back to that My Submissions page, or whoever submitted the award, My Submissions and Applications, if you see that it says pending, that pretty much means it has been received and it is in the state chair's box for moving on up the line. Okay, without anything selected, it seems to work for me. Okay, so I'll check the any status. Thanks, I appreciate that. That was a few minutes ago when I couldn't figure out what was going on. And Connie fixed that. Can we export the list of contacts so we can filter or email multiple contacts? Yes. It just wasn't showing on my screen the export option because I wasn't able to get any of my search to work. But once you do a search, it will allow you to export it into Excel. Let me go to question and answer. This is probably old as well. I have nominated submissions for AADSA. I'm the state chair, and I'm not sure if I have approved these nominations. How do I check that it's been done? If we go back to that page, I was on a page for Virginia. If the little state under your administrative section in the dashboard, if you see that the box has been checked that says state award winner, that means it's been moved on. If that box has not been checked, which originally, to be honest, a few days ago, we discovered that state chairs couldn't check that box because we had it locked to where they couldn't do it until the January 15th deadline was set. But we unlocked that for state chairs to where it now can be checked. So as long as it's checked, it can, it has been moved on to the regional level. And that's the best way to go about determining whether it's been moved on or not. So I guess now, if you've got any other questions, one of the things I can tell you that we've had a little bit of an issue with is the logging into the website. Some members have been able to go in, enter in their email, and they received the email response giving them a login, a new password in order to log in, and other people are not getting that email. So I have received several emails from people saying, hey, can you help me get in the system? I'm more than happy to do so. What I would do is just, if you talk to anybody that's having that trouble, just have them email me and I can reset their password pretty quickly on this end and get them back in to the site. I imagine as more and more members go into the system here between now and March 15th to submit posters and presentations and awards, that we're going to run into that to where people just aren't able to log in. So just have them call me, have them email me, and I will get them in within a matter of minutes, assuming that I'm sitting here and can answer the phone and answer the emails. But that really is just a crash course on the process. I know that many of the regional chairs and national chairs will most likely have additional questions when we get to the stage of approving awards. I'd be more than happy to have a one-on-one session or just a national chair session or a regional chair session to kind of go through that process and do a how-to. But I would, most of that information, once again, can be found in that administrative section of the dashboard to be able to view anything that's been submitted. The key thing is make sure when you're applying for awards that you do the save and continue so that it can get into that My Submissions and Awards or Applications section. So, Sarah, good question. Within the system, who has the permissions to go in and edit assigned roles? Very good question. And you are correct. I used to be able to do that and now I can't. When we were creating the new website, our web developers were deeply concerned about security of opening that level of assigning state chairs, assigning leadership, state association officer roles. Plus, there are now several other levels that we didn't have before. So ultimately, those updates need to be done by me. So back in November, before we switched over to the new website, I sent out an email to the state presidents that we had in the system and kind of informed them of that it's a new process. So if your current officers or committee chairs are not up to date, I would just ask that you send me a list of those. Email them to me at nacaa@aol.com or exec-dir@nacaa.com, and I will go in and get those updated on this end. I've been doing that quite a bit here in the last week and or last couple of weeks. So it's a process that I need to do on my end. Hope that answers your question, Sarah. Trust me, I wasn't that thrilled about having to do it all on my end, but we may be able to open up that option for states to be able to go in and do it, kind of have a true state authorized user. I know that whoever we have set up within the system to handle your dues can go in and edit the member information. So if they need to update an address or a phone number or an email, they can do that. Those state users can do that. But once again, I also have to assign who within the state gets the permission to do that as well. But it's an easy click on my end. I just need to know who you want from in your state to do that. So gone about 50 minutes, unless there's any other questions or concerns. I'll probably just go ahead and conclude today's webinar, but please feel free to reach out to me with questions. And if there is a desire to have more in-depth discussion or detail for state chairs, regional chairs, national chairs on how we're going to go about doing some of these functions, as we get further down through the award submission and presentation and poster submission process, I'd be glad to do another webinar or do a one-on-one with you to try to answer those questions and get it all figured out on that end. So thanks for joining today. Appreciate those of you who were able to join us today, and we look forward to being able to utilize the website and enhance it as time rolls on in the years to come. With that, I will say goodbye for now.